everyone. Ready to unlock the secrets of the IELTS speaking test?
Yeah.
We're going deep today, folks, diving into the IELTS podcast by FixoLang. It's like a backstage pass to acing this exam.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people don't realize that the IELTS speaking test isn't just about right or wrong answers. It's about how effectively you communicate your ideas.
Interesting. So like how you get your point across.
Exactly. Imagine you're giving a presentation right now.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how brilliant your ideas are
Right.
if you can't express them in a way that engages your audience.
Makes sense.
The examiners, they're looking for clarity, fluency,
Yeah.
and a genuine connection with the listener.
So it's not just about memorizing a bunch of fancy vocabulary.
No, not at all.
Gotcha. So how does the test actually work?
All right, let's break it down. There are 3 parts.
Okay.
Part 1 is the introduction and interview. This is where you'll answer those personal questions about your life, hobbies, interests.
Like a warm-up round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to get you comfortable speaking.
Okay. Sounds easy enough. But I'm guessing there are some things to watch out for, even in this first part.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even in part 1,
Yeah.
the examiners are already checking out your fluency and coherence.
Really?
They're listening to how smoothly you speak,
I see.
how well you connect your ideas,
Uh-huh.
and if you're using a variety of vocabulary and grammar.
Wow. So they're really paying attention right from the start.
They are. Then we move on to part 2,
Okay.
the cue card.
Cue card.
Here you get a topic card, right?
Uh-huh.
And you'll have 2 minutes to prepare a short talk.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. And this is where you can really shine, show off your ability to structure your thoughts,
Right.
develop your ideas,
Yeah.
and speak, coherently for an extended period.
So planning is key here.
It is. But remember,
Yeah.
it's not about memorizing a perfect script.
So they want to hear you think on your feet.
Exactly. They want to see how you express yourself naturally.
Got it. So what's part 3 then?
Part 3, follow-up questions.
Okay.
Here, the examiner is going to delve deeper into the topic from part 2.
So it gets a little more intense.
A little bit. This is your chance to show you can handle a more complex discussion,
Okay.
express your opinions, maybe even debate different viewpoints.
Whoa. Well, that sounds like a real challenge.
It is. It's about showing off your ability to think critically and articulate your thoughts, in a sophisticated way.
Right. So earlier you mentioned that it's not just about right or wrong answers, but how you communicate. Can you expand on that a bit?
Absolutely. The examiners, they're not looking for textbook answers or specific opinions.
Okay.
They want to see how you use language to express your unique perspective,
Interesting.
even if it's different from their own.
Oh, that's actually really cool. You can be yourself, basically.
Exactly. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not.
I like that. Now, let's talk about some of those myths that might be freaking people out.
Okay, like what?
Like the whole accent thing. I've heard that having an accent can hurt your score. Is that true?
That's a big one. And honestly,
Yeah.
it's a myth. IELTS examiners, they're trained to understand a huge range of accents.
Really? So you don't have to sound like a BBC newsreader.
No, not at all. What matters most is clarity.
Clarity, so they can understand what you're saying.
Exactly. Embrace your unique voice. Trying to erase your accent,
Yeah.
it can actually make you sound less natural and fluent.
That's good to know. What other myths should we bust?
Well, another common mistake is over-memorizing answers.
Oh, yeah. I can see how that would backfire.
It makes you sound robotic, right? Unnatural. And that can lower your score.
Right. So you're saying it's better to have some key phrases in mind, but just let the conversation flow.
Exactly. And speaking of flow,
Yeah.
be mindful of your pacing too. Speaking too fast or too slow, that can affect your score as well.
So find a good rhythm, not too fast, not too slow.
That's it. And one last thing. You don't need to use complex vocabulary just to impress them.
Oh, really?
If you don't understand a word, you might misuse it.
Right.
And that can confuse the listener. It's much better to use simpler language accurately and effectively.
Quality over quantity. Got it. Now let's get to the part everyone's probably wondering about.
Yeah.
How is this thing actually scored?
All right, let's dive into that. There are 4 main criteria:
4.
fluency and coherence,
Okay.
lexical resource, which is basically your vocabulary,
Gotcha.
grammatical range and accuracy,
Uh-huh.
and pronunciation. Each one's worth 25% of your overall score.
So it's all about balance then.
It is. You can't just focus on one area and ignore the others.
Right. Makes sense. But what do those criteria actually mean?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
They can be a bit vague. Let's unpack them.
Perfect, because I think our listeners are ready for some insider knowledge.
All right, let's do it.
So let's break it all down. What are they listening for when they talk about fluency and coherence?
Well, it's all about how smoothly and logically you express your ideas. Kind of like you're telling a story.
Oh, okay. Like taking the listener on a journey.
Exactly. A clear beginning, middle, and end.
So it's not just talking fast.
Nope, not at all. It's about making it easy to follow and understand.
Okay, I see.
They're listening for natural pauses, smooth transitions between ideas.
Right.
And the way you use linking words and phrases,
Yeah.
like however or therefore, things like that.
Okay, so those little connectors that help guide the listener.
Exactly. They're like bridges between ideas, right?
That's a great way to put it. So what about lexical resource? That's basically just vocabulary, right?
Yeah, but it's not just about using big words. It's about using the right words in the right context.
So how do you do that without sounding like you're trying too hard?
Use a variety of vocabulary that fits the topic in this situation. Like if you're describing a memorable journey, you might use those vivid adjectives to paint a picture, right?
Oh, so instead of saying the mountains were pretty, you'd say something like, the majestic peaks soared above us.
Exactly. Or use action verbs to convey the excitement. And don't be afraid to use idiomatic expressions or phrasal verbs, to add some color.
Okay, that makes sense. So now let's tackle the one everyone's probably nervous about. Grammatical range and accuracy.
Right, grammar. It's natural to worry about that.
Yeah.
But they don't expect perfection. They're really looking for your ability to use different grammatical structures correctly and appropriately.
So it's more about showing that you have a good command of English grammar, not about avoiding every single mistake.
Exactly. And just like with vocabulary, use the right structures for the right context.
Can you give an example of what that might look like?
Sure. Let's say you're describing a past experience, right?
Okay.
You could use the past simple tense to narrate the events,
Uh-huh.
but you could also use the past continuous tense to describe actions that were happening at a specific time,
Oh, I see.
Or you could use the present perfect tense to talk about experiences that have impacted you up to now.
Wow, so many different ways to express yourself even within one tense. That's really helpful. Okay, now, what about pronunciation? That one seems pretty straightforward, but I'm sure there's more to it.
Yeah, it's not just about saying the words correctly. It's about speaking clearly and understandably, using the right intonation and stress to get your meaning across.
So it's about how you use your voice.
Exactly. Kind of like acting, right?
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't want to deliver a dramatic speech in a monotone voice.
Exactly. You'd use your voice to emphasize certain words, build suspense, convey emotions.
And bring your words to life.
Exactly. You can do the same thing in your IELTS speaking test.
This is making so much more sense now. I feel like we've really broken down those scoring criteria. But how can people actually practice these skills and get feedback?
That's a great question, and it leads us perfectly to personalized practice. Remember we talked about the FixoLang app earlier?
Oh, yeah, the virtual coach.
Exactly. Apps like that can be super helpful because they can give you feedback on your pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, fluency, all of it.
So it's not just about generic practice questions. It's about getting feedback tailored to you.
Exactly. It's like having a personal trainer for your speaking skills. They can identify your weak spots and give you specific exercises to improve.
That's awesome. It's like a customized study plan.
Exactly. But we're not trying to sell anyone an app, okay? The main takeaway is personalized practice is crucial for getting a better IELTS speaking score. Whether it's an app, a tutor, or practicing with a friend, the key is getting specific feedback that helps you grow.
I love that. Taking control of your learning.
Absolutely. And speaking of tools, let's go back to that cue card topic we were discussing. Describe a memorable journey.
Right, using vivid language and sensory details to paint a picture. What else can our listener do to make their response more engaging and memorable?
Well, think about storytelling techniques.
Oh, okay.
Like a compelling opening, a challenge, a climax, a resolution.
So even if it's just a simple experience, structure it like a little story.
Exactly. And don't forget the emotional impact. What did you learn? How did it change you?
Those personal reflections that make it more than just a travelogue.
Exactly. Now, let's say you're actually in the test facing this cue card. What are some traps to avoid?
Ooh, good question. I'm sure there are some common ones.
One is getting too caught up in the facts and not enough on the personal significance. Remember, They want to see how you think and feel, not just what you did.
So instead of I went to Paris and saw the Eiffel Tower, you could talk about how standing at the top made you feel small, but also connected to something bigger.
Exactly. Another trap is rambling without a clear structure. Remember those storytelling techniques?
Yeah.
Use them to stay focused and engaging.
And answer the prompt. Right.
Exactly. And lastly, don't be afraid to be yourself. Let your personality shine through.
That's such a good point. It's not just about the technical stuff. It's about expressing who you are.
You got it. Authenticity is key. Now, before we move on to the last part of our deep dive, I want to leave everyone with one more thought about that memorable journey cue card.
All right, lay it on us. What's this final thought about the memorable journey cue card?
So think about the word memorable, right? It's not just about, like, describing a trip. It's about why that journey stayed with you, you know?
Right. What made it special?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What made it stick in your memory? Was it personal growth? A challenge you overcame? A connection you made with someone?
I like that. It's like finding the deeper meaning behind the experience.
Exactly. And that's what will make your answer really stand out to the examiners. You know, they've heard tons of descriptions of trips to famous places.
Right.
But what they want is your unique perspective, your personal insights, your story.
So it's not just about what you did, but how it affected you.
Exactly. And that's what makes the IELTS speaking test so interesting. It's not just about proving, English. It's about showing you can think critically, reflect on your experiences, connect with others through language.
That's a really great way to think about it. Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about something I know stresses people out. Making mistakes.
Oh, yeah, the dreaded mistake.
It's like the fear of messing up. Everyone gets it right.
Oh, absolutely. But here's the thing. Everyone makes mistakes.
Even native speakers.
Even native speakers. The important thing is to not let those mistakes, throw you off.
So how can our listener handle those moments when they, stumble over a word or forget a grammar rule?
First, don't panic.
Easy to say.
I know, right? But seriously, take a breath. Stay calm. The examiners, they aren't expecting perfection. They're looking for your ability to communicate well, even when you're under pressure.
So it's more about how you recover from a mistake than avoiding them altogether.
Exactly. If you mispronounce something, use the wrong tense, just correct yourself and move on. Don't dwell on it.
That's good advice.
Yeah, just keep going.
It's like showing you're adaptable, right?
Exactly. And remember, they're more focused on your overall communication, not little slip-ups.
That's reassuring. A few errors won't ruin everything.
Hoop. Yeah. Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with one last thought to keep in mind on their IELTS journey.
Okay, hit me with it.
Remember that language is powerful. It's a way to connect with people, share your ideas, make your voice heard.
Yeah.
The IELTS test. It's just one small step in your language learning journey, but it's a step that could open up so many doors.
I love that. It's about more than just a test score.
Absolutely. So, to everyone out there preparing for IELTS, embrace the challenge.
Yeah.
Believe in yourselves. And use your voice to share your story with the world.
That's amazing advice. I feel like we've given our listeners everything they need to take on the IELTS speaking test with confidence.
I hope so. Remember, it's not just about the score, it's about the journey.
The journey. And language learning. That journey can really make your life richer in so many ways.
Couldn't agree more.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have. It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you and everyone listening.
Absolutely. To everyone listening, we wish you the best on your IELTS journey. Remember everything we talked about today, practice, and most importantly, believe in yourself. You got this.